This is our 70-pound Labrador Retriever named Lucy, and this is my new Ford F-150 crew cab. I wanted to be able to protect the back seats and door panels, and so I purchased the Ruff liner, which is designed to protect all of the rear part of the cab. Problem is, when Lucy wants to stick her head out the window while I'm driving, the Velcro is not strong enough to hold the door side panel on. And so you can see as she's jumping up on the door, her paws and her weight pull the Ruff liner off. So I needed to figure out a solution to this problem because the Velcro that holds it on is simply not strong enough.
The problem is that when the dog jumps up onto the window to stick her head out the window, she tugs on this thing, and ultimately the Velcro separates. And so what we're going to do is reinforce it up here. So the total space that I need to cover between the lock button and the edge of the door is 22.5 inches. And these are too long for that. So what I need to do is cut them down so they'll total out to 22.5 inches. So each one of these needs to be 7.5 inches for my truck. So I'm going to cut them down to 7.5 inches. So I'm marking where 7.5 inches is, and that's where I'm going to begin my cut. Okay, so we're going to cut this one down at 7.5 inches, which is right there, using a hacksaw. So now that these are cut down each to 7.5 inches, they should fit perfectly to cover the entire width of the door between the edge and the lock. And so now that I've cut these down each to 7.5 inches, I want to mark where I'm going to put the rivets that I'm going to put through here. They're actually called Chicago screws, and they're going to secure it. So we're going to drill a hole first in the center, which is 3 3/4 inches on my 7.5 inch support. Okay. So that's number 1. And then we're going to do one at the 2-inch mark, right? Yeah, we'll do one. Well, we'll do it at 1.5. And then I'm going to do one at 6 inches here. Okay. And we'll do that to all 3 of them. Pieces of plastic have holes in them, 3 holes in each. And now for each of these holes, I've picked out these, what are called Chicago screws. I'm not sure exactly which length I'll use yet, but I want to make sure that they're going to work. Looks like yep, you see that? So each one of these will have a Chicago screw through it, and then we'll attach those to the side of the protector. So what I'm doing is placing the Chicago screw bolts into each of these. may end up using shorter screws, but for now I'm putting them in here so that I can use them to help me mark. So we're going to pull this up, back up. And what this is going to allow me to do is feel where they are, and then I'm going to put a mark with Sharpie so that I can put a rivet at each one of those. And I want to do it on the inside edge of the stitching of the Velcro. There's a stitch here I can see. So now we're going to install grommets at each one of these spots where we marked the point. So I'm using a grommet tool, and I'm going to cut a hole. For each one of these, and I'm going to install a grommet. So you have to get a grommet kit. I got this off of Amazon. I put the grommet into the tool. There's 2 pieces to the grommet. Okay, move your hand. So there's a grommet installed. Yay! And that's pretty solid, and that'll keep it from tearing when the dog pulls on it. And then each one of these will be attached here through. So I'll show you that when we get to the end. I'm going to just go ahead and install grommets at each one of the points that I set up to put a hole in it. So now we have grommets for each one of these, and I'm just going to use the Chicago screws to attach the plastic pieces to the material through the grommets. So these are Chicago screws that I got from Amazon, and I'm going to try to use the shortest length I need. And there's 2 pieces to these. There's a male and female end, and I'm hoping that this one will be enough. I think I'm going to need a little thicker one than that. So I'm going to match up my holes. Got my holes all matched. And I think I'll go for a little bit longer one. So I'm going to press the Chicago screw through the hole, through the grommet, and then at the other end, I'm going to screw it in. And the nice thing about these is it's different from rivets, is that you can just use tools that you have. And I'll do a screwdriver on the other side too. Oh, actually, these are flat on the other side. So they just screw in like that. That's it. And if I do... So I'm going to do Chicago screws on every one of the holes. So we'll be back in a minute to show you that. So now what I've discovered is that when I'm tightening the Chicago screws, because there's no way to hold the head on the other side, I'm going to put electrical tape here, and that will do two things. One, it's going to hold the heads while I turn the screw on the other side, and then also it's going to protect the edge of my door frame from having these metal heads pushing down on them. So I already did that on this one. I just put electrical tape along the back side, and then I pressed it down really nicely. So then when I turn the screw here, it's held and I can get it nice and snug. So now I've got all of the Chicago screws in tight. And on the back side, I have electrical tape. Oh, there's the dog. And the advantage now is that when I want to wash this cover, I can just take these screws out. And because there's electrical tape holding the other end in, they won't get lost. And we'll be good to go. And then this should be nice and secure on the truck. Okay, now we're completely reinstalled back into the truck. You can see our work here. And ultimately, the dog could pull on this all day long and is not going to separate.
And so this has solved our problem. You can see she's now standing on various parts at the edge, and nothing is coming apart.
Okay, this is the Ruff Liners seat protector dog hammock. Easy to install. Hopefully will protect my new vehicle. Very pleased. Easy to install, and they want you to put the Velcro between the window here. But I have the shade. I have a Audi QS5 or SQ5, sorry, and I have the window shade. So I just tucked the little Velcro things in that instead of the window, and it worked out perfect. Yeah, the test will be tomorrow to see how Doggo does, but right now I'd give it 5 out of 5. All clear. See?
I'm making this video because I bought almost 5 of these before I found this one, and I absolutely love it. Just a perfect design.
Not quite, but the dog bed looks really good. So it's tough. It's got ventilation there. I had to put an extra towel there on that side, but the slobber has already started. And she's waiting for me. Gotta go. Here she goes.
So installing this, the part that goes around the headrest is sewn to the back.